So earlier in this week, I have talked with three, maybe four women who specifically wanted my help to deal with weight gain and perimenopause. And all four of them were kind of stumped by this whole thing of like, I didn't change my diet. I haven't changed my exercise. I'm doing everything right. Why am I gaining weight? And why is it right over my belly? And so I feel like I wanted to pop on and just share a little bit of insight from a medical perspective. My background is a naturopathic doctor. I'm a doctor of classical Chinese medicine. I train in functional medicine. So I have a really big scope that has to do with biomedical hormonal regulation, right? So one of the things I want to say, if this is you and you're dealing with this, most of the time, it's wrong of us to think that hormones are the root cause of this weight gain. It's more like they're the last straw. They're like the straw that broke the camel's back. All of a sudden, estrogen and progesterone start coming down. And the thing that really is driving this for most women, and when I'm running their labs, I see time and time again, is actually blood sugar regulation. I'm going to explain a little bit about, three things, if this were me, exactly what I would do to address it, the labs that you want to consider in all of this so that you kind of know how to navigate this specific issue, because it's really frustrating, right? You're like doing all the right things and what up? As estrogen and progesterone start to come down, the literature does show us that our sensitivity to sugar changes, and this becomes a really big vulnerability. So if you are going into perimenopause with maybe a little bit of silent blood sugar instability, and what I mean by that is like after you eat, blood sugar spikes, your pancreas responds, it puts out a bunch of insulin, the sugar goes into your cells, blood sugar comes down. Our body really responds well when we're in this Goldilocks zone where the blood sugar doesn't spike too high and it doesn't come down too low. It stays in this little sweet space, like not too high, not too low, just right. And we feel satisfied. You won't be hangry between meals. You won't get headaches if you miss a meal. These are all signals that let you know, like, okay, blood sugar is pretty stable. But if you tend to have okay, after I eat something in the afternoon, I'm totally tanked, I'm fried, I'm tired, my brain's not working, or waking up at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, sometimes this is because of blood sugar, or feeling that really irritable if it's been too long and you haven't eaten anything, or you're really craving sweets all of a sudden, you're ravenous, right? All of these are little signs that blood sugar is maybe a little unstable. Then all of a sudden, you start going through perimenopause. The progesterone, the estrogen come down, your body all of a sudden just has this vulnerability and it gets blown up out of proportion. And then that's when the big weight swings start to happen. That stubborn 10 pounds, no matter what you do, you can't lose it. Super frustrating. So the top three things I would do if this were me, boom, right now in the scenario. Number one, I would non-negotiably eat 25 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up. And I would never have a meal that did not have protein with it. This means if you get a late night snack and you want chips and salsa, I gotta find some protein to go with it. Or if I want to sit down and just eat an apple, I gotta have some protein with it. We want to keep things balanced. And that specifically keeps you from having those high highs followed by low lows. The protein stabilizes how quickly your body turns the apple, the piece of toast, the chips into blood sugar. So it kind of slows all of that down. It makes you more stable. So that's one habit I would do. The second thing I would do is I would actually run really good lab tests to know how far in this process you are. Because blood sugar instability is like a spectrum. We don't just go from one night, okay, perfect blood sugar stability to prediabetes. But the rates of diagnosis of prediabetes and diabetes type 2 during perimenopause start to climb. If we look at the statistics, they start to climb. And it's because of this dynamic of the hormones. And it's a spectrum. So it's not all overnight. It happens over years and over years. And the trouble is, most of the time when you're going to your primary care doc, they're really just looking at blood glucose one time. If you're lucky, they're also looking at a hemoglobin A1C, but they're not going to start flagging things when they're outside of optimal. They wait until it's all the way to the diagnosis of prediabetes before they tell you anything about it. We miss years of opportunity and years of weight gain happening in that in-between space. That's where functional medicine really shines, right? We're looking at, are you functioning at your best versus are you actually in the process of disease? Whoa, these lead to very different places, right? If I want to be I want good quality of life as I age, I want longevity, I want to just move through perimenopause naturally, I don't want to rely on medications, take that functional space. Truly, do yourself a favor, take that functional space. So to capture, is my function where it should be? There's a few lab tests I would run. I would do the spot glucose. So you have a metabolic panel run, you're fasting, they draw blood, they look at it, they tell you what your glucose is. Cool. I would also include hemoglobin A1C, a fasting insulin, and C-peptide. And this will tell us how far are we in that spectrum of insulin resistance to prediabetes to diabetes. And then it would tell you okay, for a nutrition side of things, how how do we want to work this? How tight do we need to be around sugars? Like, is your body handling sugar okay? We just need to really add in the protein and fiber. Or do we really need to look at how much sugar and carbs you're getting into and just moderate that for a short time? The third thing I would do is consider the herbal supplement called Berberine. If anyone's been diagnosed with prediabetes who's watching this, you'd be offered something called metformin. This is a drug. It helps your cells to respond to insulin better, and it can help you manage your blood sugar a little bit more in that Goldilocks zone. Berberine is interesting because it's an herbal compound, doesn't have any kind of pharmaceutical fillers, all this stuff. It's an herbal compound. It's actually a bitter flavor that comes from certain herbs, like golden seal's making it, Oregon grape makes it, a bunch of different herbs. So it's like this bitter compound that has the same exact mechanism of action as metformin. And over time, it can really help to bring blood sugar into a more narrow range. For me, I always let the labs guide it because maybe we find that weight gain's coming from some other place for some women, like cardiovascular inflammation, something else. But if you truly do have this insulin insensitivity and we're working on that, berberine can be powerful. Typical dosing is 500 milligrams 2 to 3 times per day with food, just depending on how far a person is in that spectrum. And then I always recheck the labs, think like 3 to 6 months down the line. And surely I have seen people with hemoglobin A1C that was stuck above 7, that's in the category of diabetes, come all the way down to 5.2 within 6 months of doing this strategy. I've seen women at 6.4. I've seen women who couldn't bring it down past 5.8. Year after year, they're just hovering at this pre-diabetes. We do this strategy and they're down. Like optimal is 5.4 and below. They're down in that range in just a short period of time. And then we're looking at, okay, so what's your forever plan with nutrition? You don't have to be that strict forever, but for a short time to meet your goal, it really can make all the difference in the world. Now, when it comes to finding these labs, finding providers, finding people who can actually put this together as a strategy for you, I'll invite you, I'll let you know this is something that I do. I offer a program where all of this is included. We specifically go through nutrition, specifically go through lab testing, and specifically go through how to incorporate supplements to meet your goals in perimenopause to make sure that you can move through this time with good health, good vitality, and not over relying on medications or pathologizing a process that should be really natural and should be really empowering. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'll drop a link in the description field below. You're welcome to start with just a free call where we can meet, we can chat through what you're dealing with, what you're struggling with, and see if a program like mine would be a good fit. Go ahead and click there if that sounds of interest.